Yo, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Sauce. NBA Tuesday. We got 11 games on the board, but really not liking a lot of these. There's so many games with double-digit spreads. So there are a lot of games. There's just not a ton of betting value as far as I'm seeing. As far as Monday night goes, swept the board. Went 4-0. Well, it was only 2 games, but I placed 4 bets. Raptors plus the points, Raptors money line. Heat plus the points, Heat money line. Nice little 4-0 sweep there. Nice little profitable night. Let's keep that rolling. Yeah, 11 games on the board. Let's get it started.
Welcome to the Sauce. The Sauce. Sauce. Hey, get the sauce.
All right, let's start off with the Brooklyn Nets on the road in Orlando. Magic laying 8.5 points at home here. Total sitting at 215.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. And according to the model, we see an 11-point Orlando win. Final score 116-105 Magic. Injuries and inactives will start with Brooklyn. Now, they just played a game last night against the Grizzlies, so I'm not sure if we're going to get an updated injury report. But this is showing Ben Simmons has been ruled out. I don't know if that's for yesterday, though, so we'll have to wait. Cam Thomas is also on the injury report. He's listed as questionable. On the Orlando side, we got Paolo Banchero listed as questionable. He just missed the last game against the Hawks as well. Jonathan Isaac is also on the report. He's listed as questionable. Before we get into this one, we need to mention that Brooklyn is on the second leg of a back-to-back. They just played the Grizzlies yesterday. And on the season, the Nets have not been good in these spots. 2-5-1 against the spread and 2-6 straight up. Betting trends on the Brooklyn side look pretty terrible, but you know what? They look slightly better than they did 24 hours ago. Nets are now 2-6-1 against the spread in their last 9 overall, 3-14 against the spread in their last 17 on the road, 2-10 against the spread in their last 12 as road dogs. Things are looking pretty good on the Orlando side. 9-4 against the spread in their last 13 overall, 5-2 against the spread in their last 7 at home, 10-3 against the spread as home favorites this year. In this particular head-to-head matchup, recent history points towards Brooklyn here. 4-2 against the spread in their last 6 matchups against the Magic. Trends for the total, kind of conflicting here. Nets have definitely been trending towards unders. 8-1 to the under in the last 9 Brooklyn games, 10-3 to the under in their last 13 on the road. But Orlando's actually been trending towards overs. 6-2 to the over in their last 8, 6-2 to the over in their last 8 at home. So let's match these two teams up on the court. We'll start with Brooklyn's offense. Offensive rebounding might be a problem here for Brooklyn. Magic have done a good job on the defensive glass. They're 8th in the last 10 games. Brooklyn just 24th offensively. So there shouldn't be many second chance opportunities for the Nets offense. As far as shot zones go, as we know, this is a Nets offense that lives and dies by jump shots. In the last 5 games, they're 4th, 8th, and 11th in frequency from the low mid-range, above the break 3, and corner 3. Here's the thing, though. Orlando's actually been struggling against jump shooters recently, and the reason that's weird is if you rewind 2-3 weeks, it was the opposite. Orlando was struggling down low, and they were defending the perimeter well. Look at the last 5 games. 19th in efficiency against the long mid-range shot. Dead last, 30th in efficiency against the above the break 3. Now, they're 3rd in frequency, so they are limiting shot attempts out there. But as far as defensive efficiency against jump shooters, not good for Orlando. Now, when we flip it around and look at the matchup for the Magic offense, at a quick glance, it looks like Orlando has the huge edge on this side of the court. I mean, look at the main 4 factors here. Efficient field goal percentage, Orlando. Offensive rebounding rate, Orlando. Free throw rate, Orlando. But when we take a deeper look, I'm not sure how much I really like this matchup for the Magic offense. As we know, Orlando's offense lives at the rim. In the last 5 games, 40% of the Magic shot attempts have come at the basket. That's the most in the NBA in that time span. Protecting the rim has been the strength of this Nets defense all season, not just in the last 5 games. That's been the case all year for the Nets defense. And this Magic team does not run the fast break much. If you subscribe to this channel, you know I love betting teams that run the fast break against the Nets. It's something the Nets have struggled with defensively all year. Orlando towards the bottom in fast break frequency. So as much as you would think Orlando's offense has this huge edge over Brooklyn, I actually don't like the matchup for Orlando's offense. And with a big number like 8.5, I'm actually leaning towards the Nets here. So I'm going to say Brooklyn for now. I didn't bet it yet, though. If you're in the Discord, I'll post it as soon as I do. And I'll let you know the final decision on the live show tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Next game. Dallas on the road in Cleveland. Cavs are laying 3.5 or 4, depending on your sports book. Total sitting at 233.5. Let's take a look at the spreadsheet. And according to the model, we should see a 3-point Cleveland win. Final score 115-112 Cavs. Injuries and inactives, and we'll start with the Mavs. Luka Doncic, probable. Josh Green, probable. Derek Lively, probable. Maxi Kleber, probable. Dante Exum is listed as doubtful. On the Cleveland side, nobody. As far as the main pieces for the Cavs, I don't see a single name on the report here. Before we get into this one, we need to point out that both of these teams are on the first leg of back-to-backs. Both these teams have games tomorrow, but Cleveland has a much bigger game. Cleveland goes on the road to Chicago the very next day, tomorrow. Dallas have the Raptors. So both of these games kind of equal, not really the most meaningful games for Dallas. This one doesn't mean much for Cleveland, but tomorrow's game against a division rival on the road definitely does mean something. Betting trends on the Dallas side are looking pretty good here. 6-2 against the spread in their last 8 overall, 7-4 against the spread in their last 11 on the road, 4-2 against the spread in their last 6 as road dogs. On the Cleveland side, it's the opposite. Cavs just 0-5 against the spread in their last 5, 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 at home. As far as this particular head-to-head matchup, it's kind of been all Dallas here. Check this out. The Mavs are 6-3 against the spread in their last 9 against Cleveland. And check this out. Dallas 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 trips to Cleveland. So they've done excellent in this arena. Trends for the total. Mavs have been trending towards the under pretty heavily here. 8-2 to the under in their last 10. 9-3-1 to the under in their last 13. Last 13 on the road, I'm sorry. On the Cleveland side, 6-2 to the under in their last 8, but at home, they're 4-1 to the over in their last 5. So let's match these two teams up on the court. And as always, I'll start with the road team's offense. Dallas probably not going to get many opportunities as far as second chance points in this one. In the last 10 games, just 26th in offensive rebounding rate. Cleveland defensively is up at 9th. Also, something I don't like here for the Mavs, this is an offense that's used to getting opportunities from the free throw line. They're 8th in free throw rate in the last 10 games. But look at Cleveland's defense, 3rd defensively in the last 10. Another angle I don't like for Dallas offense, the numbers in transition. 12th in frequency, 9th in efficiency. This is a Dallas team that likes to run the fast break here and there. I don't know if that's going to be there on the road in Cleveland. Cleveland's been great defensively in transition all season. But there actually is an angle I do like for the Dallas offense, and it comes from the shot zones. Cleveland defensively, the strength has always been on the interior. They've been elite protecting the basket, protecting the paint all year. In the last 10 games, Cleveland's 1st in defensive efficiency at the rim, 1st in defensive efficiency against the short mid-range shot. They've really locked it down there. But Dallas doesn't really take shots down there. That's not a big part of their offense. In the last 10 games, they're 26th in frequency at the rim, 23rd in the paint. This is a Dallas Mavericks offense that's been going ballistic with the jump shots, long mid-range, above the break 3, corner 3. Look at these numbers. I mean, Dallas is shooting the lights out, but this Cleveland defense, if I was recording this 3 weeks ago, I'd be like, oh, Cleveland still plays solid defense against jump shooters. It's not their strength, but they're still good out there. Look at their numbers in the last 10 games here. 21st against the long mid-range, 16th against the above the break 3, 26th against the corner 3. Cleveland's struggling to defend jump shooters right now. So I know this handicap started out looking like it was going to be a tough matchup for Dallas offense, but I actually think there's an angle here for the Mavs to give the Cavs defense some problems. On the other side of the court, we got Cleveland's offense. A couple numbers jump out here. Rebounding advantage goes to Dallas, 10th to 21st in the last 10. Turnover edge goes to Cleveland, though, 7th to 26th. Cleveland's really been attacking the rim a lot recently. They've kind of shied away from the three-point shot, and we'll get to that in a second. But you look at their numbers at the rim in the last 10 games, 5th in frequency, 4th in efficiency. Very good numbers on the offensive interior here for the Cavs. Look at the Dallas defense in the last 10 games. 11th in frequency, 5th in efficiency. So they've done a solid job protecting the basket. And when we pull up the three-point shooting numbers, you can see in the last 10 games, 4th and 10th in frequency from the corner and above the break. But look what happens when I switch it to the last 5 games. 12th and 17th. So this Cleveland Cavs offense is becoming less three-point reliant and more dependent on getting into the interior. As far as betting this game, this one kind of comes down to a personal preference, how you personally like to bet. I am going to go with Dallas here, and I'm pretty confident about it. I think they win the game. I took Dallas +4. I already bet it. Cleveland looks terrible right now, and until they show me that they've come out of the All-Star break and look like the old Cleveland Cavs, I'm not going to handicap them as a 2 or 3 seed in the Eastern Conference because that's not how they're playing. But if you value the Cleveland Cavs based on how they were playing a month ago, then you should probably lay the 4 points here at home. But I don't. They're going to have to prove it to me, and I like the way this Dallas team has looked. So give me the Mavs +4 next game. Golden State on the road in Washington here. Wizards catching 10.5 points at home. Total sitting at 242.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet, and according to the model, we should see an 8-point Golden State win. Final score 122-114 Warriors. Injuries and inactives for Golden State. Nobody. It looks like Chris Paul's been taken off the injury report, so I guess Chris Paul's going to be active again unless RotoWire is messing up here. But it looks like the Warriors should be at full strength. On the Washington side, we got a few names here. Landry Shamet is questionable. Avisha is questionable. Corey Kispert is also on the report. He's listed as questionable as well. Betting trends on the Golden State side. Warriors are 10-3 against the spread in their last 13, 9-2 against the spread in their last 11 on the road, 5-0 in their last 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 as road favorites. On the Washington side, Wizards are 5-3 against the spread in their last 8, but just 3-8 against the spread in their last 11 at home. In this particular head-to-head matchup, it's pretty much been bet the home team. Golden State's 4-1 against the spread in their last 5 against the Wizards, but they're just 2-5 against the spread in their last 7 trips out to DC. Golden State's also been trending heavily towards the under, 10-3 to the under in their last 13 games, 6-2 to the under in their last 8 on the road. Washington's actually 3-1 to the over in their last 4, but they're 8-1 to the under in their last 9 at home. And in this particular matchup, it's been all overs. 10-4 to the over in the last 14 meetings between these two, 4-1 to the over in the last 5 at Washington. So let's match these two teams up on the court. We'll start with Washington offensively. It's tough sledding for the Wizards offense here. I mean, Golden State pretty much has the advantage in all 4 of the major factors on this side of the court. Shot charts for the Wizards offense. They take a lot of short mid-range shots, a lot of above the break threes. Golden State actually has terrible numbers against the short mid-range shot. In the last 10 games, they're 30th in frequency, 29th in efficiency against that shot. So that's a positive for Washington, but they've got great numbers against the above the break three. So I don't know how much I'd take away from those numbers. One angle I definitely do love for the Wizards here, though, the fast break. As we know, Golden State struggled defensively in transition all year. 26th in frequency, 22nd in efficiency. The Wizards have one of the best fast breaks in basketball that doesn't get talked about. 3rd in frequency, 4th in efficiency on the year. Now, on the other side of the court, we got Golden State's offense. Nothing really to go by from the 4 factors here. Obviously, Golden State has the efficient field goal percentage edge, but as a whole, really nothing here. Shot zones for the Warriors. Actually, they frequent the same 2 zones that the Wizards do. The short mid-range shot and the above the break 3. They're 3rd in frequency and 2nd in frequency from those 2 zones in the last 10. Washington, just like Golden State, has terrible numbers against that short mid-range shot, 25th and 27th. It's weirdly similar on this side. But Washington has great numbers against a 3-point shot. They defended the perimeter well. In the last 10 games, they're 10th in frequency, 6th in efficiency against the above the break 3. In my opinion, there's enough evidence here to support a Wizards bet at plus 10.5. Now, I know betting the Wizards at home has been a suicide mission this year, but if we've learned anything since the All-Star break, it's that we should probably throw every single trend that was making us money before the break out. I mean, auto fading the Nuggets on the road, dead. Auto betting the Wizards on the road, dead. Auto betting Detroit as dogs, dead. Auto fading the Bucks on the road, dead. I mean, all these trends that have been paying us for the last couple months, they all ended after the All-Star break. So I'm not going to auto fade the Wizards at home based on some trend that was before the break because they all seem to be ending. I don't hate the matchup for the Wizards here, and we're catching 10.5 points at home. I'm leaning Washington. I didn't bet this one yet because I'm waiting on those injury reports. Avija, Shamet, and Kispert all questionable. I don't want to bet this if all 3 of them are out. I'll probably pull the trigger on this if at least one of those guys play. I'll let you know on the live show at 4 p.m. Or if I bet it before that, I'll put it in the Discord. But I'm definitely Washington or pass next game. Utah on the road in Atlanta. Hawks are laying 2.5 points at home. Total sitting at 237.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet. And according to the model, we should see a 5-point Atlanta win. Final score 123-118 Hawks. Injuries and inactives. We'll start with Utah. Nobody on the injury report as of right now for the Jazz. On the Atlanta side, obviously Trae Young is out. I think he's going to miss 4 weeks. Okongwu is also still out. This will be, I want to say, the 4th or 5th game in a row he's missed. Other than that, everyone should be good to go for the Hawks. Betting trends on the Jazz side: 3-8 against the spread in their last 11 overall, 2-4 against the spread in their last 6 on the road. Not looking good there for the Jazz. On the Hawks side, things are looking better. 7-4 against the spread in their last 11 overall, 5-3 against the spread in their last 8 at home, 4-2 against the spread in their last 6 as home favorites. In this particular head-to-head matchup, though, it's been all Jazz. Utah's 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 matchups against the Hawks, 3-0 against the spread in their last 3 trips to Atlanta, so they've played great in this arena. Jazz have also been trending towards the over recently, 10-6 to the over in their last 16, 6-2 to the over in their last 8 on the road, but the Hawks, on the other hand, have been trending towards unders, 4-1 in the under in their last 5, 3-1 in the under in their last 4 at home. This particular matchup has been all unders. 6-1 to the under in the last 7 meetings between these two, 4-2 to the under in the last 6 meetings in Atlanta. So let's match these two teams up on the court. We'll start with the Jazz offense. Huge edge on the offensive glass here for Utah. They're first in offensive rebounding rate in their last 10 compared to 19th for Atlanta defensively. Other than that, not much here in the major four factors. We can also point out the Jazz numbers in transition. They're not the best fast break team, but they do run the fast break. They're 11th in frequency on the year. This Atlanta defense has been terrible defending the fast break this year. 25th in frequency, 29th in efficiency. The bad news for Utah's offense would be the two shot zones that they frequent, the short mid-range shot and the above the break three. Those happen to be the only two shot zones that Atlanta defends well. In the last 10 games, they're first and third against the short mid-range shot, and against the above the break three, they're 14th and 10th. So Hawks defense isn't good, but they've actually done a good job defending those two shots. On the other side, we got the Atlanta offense, and the Hawks definitely have the edge on this side of the court, but that's not really saying much. Almost any offense in the NBA has the edge against the Jazz defense right now. You can see efficient field goal percentage. Look at the turnover rate, 30th to 2nd. Hawks should also be able to get to the free throw line, 5th to 16th. Utah's defense is in some trouble recently. As far as shot zones for Atlanta offense, it's kind of tough to put your finger on anything because they've been pretty balanced. They have frequented the rim, though. They're 6th in frequency at the rim in the last 5. Utah's been good about keeping their opponents away from the rim. They're 3rd in frequency down there, but when they do get there, they convert at a high rate. 23rd in defensive efficiency at the basket. As far as betting this game, I want to bet Utah straight up. I want to bet the Jazz here. I see +3s open. I would love to get +3 with the overall better team. I mean, with no Trae Young and no Okongwu on the floor, Utah has the better team top to bottom. But I'm a little scared of just how good the Hawks looked the other night against the Magic. They looked dominant, but I haven't pulled the trigger on this one yet. I know everyone's scared of betting the Jazz on the road, but again, that's a trend from before the All-Star break. So you decide how much weight you want to put in it. We're past the All-Star break now. These trends just don't seem to be paying anymore. So I'm leaning Jazz at +3. Not sure if this makes my final ticket. I'll post in the Discord if I make a decision, but right now it'll be Jazz or pass. I'll let you know on the live show at 4 p.m. Next game. Philadelphia on the road in Boston. Celtics laying 12.5 points at home. Total sitting at 227.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet, and according to the model, we should see a 9-point Celtics win. Final score 118-109 Boston. Injuries and inactives, and we'll start with the Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid obviously still out. Robert Covington is still out. Other than that, though, it looks like the Sixers are back. They had a bunch of guys on there. It looks like everyone is back other than those two guys. On the Celtics side, we got nobody. Nobody on the injury report for the Celtics as of right now. Before we even dive into this one, we need to point out that the Boston Celtics are on 2 days rest, and their numbers with 2 days rest this year are just a practical joke. They're first in offensive efficiency, first in defensive efficiency, first in overall net efficiency, averaging 19.9 more points than their opponent per 100 possessions. The Celtics on 2 days rest is basically a created team on 2K. Betting trends on the Philly side, Sixers are 5-12 against the spread in their last 17, 4-2 against the spread in their last 6 on the road, 3-1 against the spread in their last 4 as road dogs. On the Boston side, Celtics are 3-0-1 against the spread in their last 4, so they have been covering the number, but they're just 2-7 against the number in their last 9 at home. This particular matchup, though, is leaning towards Boston. Philly's just 2-6 against the spread in their last 8 matchups against the Celtics. Sixers have been trending towards the under. 7-2 to the under in the last 9 games for Philly. Boston also trending towards the under. 7-3 to the under in their last 10 at home. And this particular matchup also trending towards the under. 4-2 to the under in the last 6 meetings between these two. So we'll match these two teams up on the court, although I can probably tell you straight up I won't be betting this one. Philly actually does have the edge on the offensive glass here. In the last 10 games, they're 9th. Boston defensively 20th. So I guess there's something. Boston also not going to be able to create turnovers in this game, 3rd to 29th. So again, there's something for Philly. Obviously, as we know, Boston's defense is better than the Sixers' offense, so there's going to be some numbers that point heavily towards the Celtics. We know the Sixers like to get out in transition, especially without Joel Embiid on the floor, and they're pretty good at it too. On the season, they're 4th in fast break efficiency, but the Celtics are 1st in fast break in transition defense. 1st in defensive efficiency against the fast break. So I don't know if we can really count on that for Philly. What else do we know about this Sixers team without Embiid? They attack the rim a lot. In the last 5 games, they're 9th in shot frequency at the rim. Celtics defense, what do you know? Top 5 defense, protecting the basket in the last 5. 6th in frequency, 2nd in efficiency. Since Buddy Hield has been added to the Sixers lineup, they have been taking more shots from above the break. They're taking some more 3-point shots. And you know what? Boston's actually been weaker against the 3-point shot. Above the break, they're 20th in frequency, 20th in defensive efficiency. So maybe some opportunities for Philly to knock down some threes here. On the other side of the court, we got the Celtics offense, and I mean, this is just a flat-out mismatch. First in efficient field goal percentage to 25th for Philly in the last 10 games. Celtics like to get out and transition themselves. 8th in frequency, 11th in efficiency on the season. Philly is 28th in fast break frequency defensively on the year, meaning they're allowing opponents to get out in the fast break at the second highest rate in the NBA. We know this Boston team loves shooting the three ball. First and above the break frequency, 5th in efficiency in the last 10 games. What do you know? Philly's been struggling to defend the three-point shot. In the last 10, they're 22nd and 18th. I mean, this is a straight-up mismatch. Celtics, on paper, should score 130 points on Philly, which is why I want to take the over here. I mean, Boston should light Philly's defense up, and I actually think there are some angles for the Sixers to score some points on the Celtics. Numbers just at 227.5, so you would think I'd hop on the over. Here's the problem. In the last 5 games, these two teams are 25th and 29th in pace. So there's no way I could play an over if these teams just aren't getting up and down the floor. Actually makes me want to lean under if I'm being honest. So as far as betting the side, I guess I'd lean Boston, but really not trying to lay 12.5 points with the Celtics at home. They haven't been covering the number at home. It's a division game. You know, Philly's going to get up for it. So I guess I'll say Celtics are pass, but this is probably I'll let you know on the live show. Next game, Pellies are on the road in New York to play the Knicks. Knicks catching 2.5 points at home, total sitting at 218.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet, and according to the model, deadlocked. Final score, 111. Obviously, that's not possible. That's what the model's giving us. Injuries and inactives for the Pelicans. Couple big names on here. CJ McCollum is listed as questionable. Zion Williamson is listed as questionable. Jose Alvarado has been ruled out. And Dyson Daniels is still out for the Pellies. On the Knicks side, nothing new. Same injury report that they've been giving us since before the break. OG Anunoby still out, Julius Randle still out, Mitchell Robinson still out. Before we get into this one, we need to mention that the Knicks are on a back-to-back. They just played last night against the Pistons. That one came down to the wire too. Knicks on 0 days rest this year, 4-6 against the number. Betting trends on the New Orleans side, just 1-4 against the spread in their last 5 overall. Pelicans have not been covering the number. They're 4-6 against the spread in their last 10 on the road, 5-8 against the spread as road favorites this year. So not great looking trends there for New Orleans, but they get worse on the Knicks side. The Knicks trends are even worse. 1-8 against the spread in their last 9 overall. 0-6 against the spread in their last 6 at home. 0-3 against the spread in their last 3 as home dogs. That's disgusting. This particular head-to-head matchup leans towards New York. Pelicans are just 3-6-1 against the spread in their last 10 matchups against the Knicks. Pelicans have been trending towards the under. 8-4 to the under in the last 12 New Orleans games. 6-1 to the under in the last 7 on the road. Knicks have also been trending towards the under. 8-3 to the under in the last 11 Knicks games. 13-3 to the under in the last 16 at home. In this particular head-to-head matchup, the under's 3-1 in the last 4, but the over is 4-2 in the last 6 meetings at Madison Square Garden. So let's match these two teams up on the court. We'll start with the Pellies offense. I mean, look at the efficient field goal percentage in the last 10 games. The Knicks defense has just fallen off, dead last, 30th. Other than that, not a ton here. Obviously, Pelicans offense does have the edge, though, just based on how bad the Knicks defense has been. Shot zones on this side are pretty tough to get a read because New Orleans is a really well-balanced offense. They shoot from everywhere, but their main shot has been at the rim. They're 8th in frequency in the last 10. During that same span, the last 10 games, the Knicks are 30th in frequency, 15th in efficiency. So the Knicks, who were great at protecting the basket a month or two ago, they've really fallen off down there. As long as Zion Williamson plays in this game, New Orleans should definitely not have problems scoring points on the Knicks. Zion's obviously one of their best rim attackers. So yeah, I like the matchup for the Pellies on offense. On the other side of the court, we got the Knicks offense, and they do have the advantage on the offensive glass. In the last 10, games, they're second in offensive rebounding compared to 25th for the Pellies defense. But shot zones for the Knicks offense in the last 10 games aren't great looking in this matchup. In the last 10 games, they've been attacking the interior a lot. They're 7th in frequency in the short mid-range, 12th in frequency at the rim. Pelicans are top 10 in defensive efficiency against both those zones. As far as betting this game, I am a little nervous about the looming injuries for the Pelicans, but overall, I like the matchup for them, and this really does feel like a nice little buy low spot for the Pellies, who've dropped 2 in a row. So I'm on New Orleans minus 2.5. Obviously, I could get screwed here, but I bet this one. I'm on the Pellies. Next game. San Antonio on the road in Minnesota here. T-Wolves laying 13.5 points at home. Total sitting at 223.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet, and according to the model, we should see a 10-point T-Wolves win. Final score 117-107 Minnesota. Injuries and inactives for the San Antonio Spurs. Nobody. Looks like the Spurs are going to be at full strength for this one. On the Minnesota side, Rudy Gobert is on the report. He's listed as questionable. Other than that, Minnesota should be good. Betting trends on the San Antonio side, just 3-6 against the spread in their last 9, 3-5 against the spread in their last 8 on the road. On the Minnesota side, they look much better than that. 5-1 against the spread in their last 6 overall. 6-4 against the spread in their last 10 at home. In this particular head-to-head matchup, though, it's been all Spurs. Spurs are 5-2-1 against the spread in their last 8 matchups against the T-Wolves. 3-1 against the spread in their last 4 trips to Minnesota. Trends for the total, all pointing towards an under bet here. Spurs are 11-2-1 to the under in their last 14. 1-4-1 to the under in their last 6 on the road. Minnesota 7-3 to the under in their last 10 at home. And this particular head-to-head matchup, the last 6 times they've met in Minnesota, 4-2 to the under. So let's match these two teams up on the court, and we'll start with the Spurs offense. And this is just a terrible matchup for San Antonio, man. I couldn't find one positive angle. You can see in the last 10 games, efficient field goal percentage, 27th to 1st. Look at the turnover rate. Also advantage Minnesota, 12th to 22nd. We can pull up some shot zones here for the Spurs offense, and they've been taking a lot of those short mid-range shots. In the last 10 games, they're 4th in frequency, 7th in efficiency from that zone. Minnesota's such good defensive numbers down there, 2nd in efficiency on the season against that shot. Spurs offense also likes to get out in transition. They're 7th in fast break frequency on the season. Surprise, surprise, Minnesota has great defensive numbers against the fast break. They're 10th in frequency, 5th in efficiency on the year. This is just a nightmare matchup for the Spurs offense on paper. Now, on the other side of the court, we got Minnesota's offense. And obviously, Minnesota has the edge on this side of the court, but it's not nearly as one-sided. You can see efficient field goal percentage. Minnesota's 11th to 28th, but rebounding rate, turnover rate, free throw rate, it's not a crazy mismatch here. Really tough to use the Minnesota shot zones on offense in your handicap because they're a really balanced unit, but they're 11th in rim frequency, 9th in efficiency, so they do attack the rim. It is a big part of their offense. Spurs down there, I mean, they've struggled down there all season. Wemby's racking up blocks, but the Spurs as a whole, terrible numbers down there. The last 10 games, 17th in frequency, 23rd in efficiency. As far as betting this game, I mean, I know 13.5 is really tempting here, but I'm telling you, based on my notes and my spreadsheets here, this is a terrible matchup on paper for the Spurs. I'm honestly considering laying the 13.5, and I never lay big numbers like that. If you subscribe to this channel, you know I very rarely do that. But it'll be Minnesota or pass for me. I'll let you know in the live show what the final decision is, but I will not be taking the Spurs here. Next game, Detroit on the road at Chicago. Bulls laying 11.5 points at home, total sitting at 224.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet, and according to the model, we should see a 9-point Bulls win. Final score 119-110 Chicago. Injuries and inactives for the Pistons. It looks like Isaiah Stewart is back from his suspension. He's listed as probable, so Isaiah Stewart should be back for Detroit. Marcus Sasser will not be back, though. He's listed as out. For the Bulls, Torrey Craig is listed as out, but other than that, looks like the Bulls are going to be at full strength. Before we get into this one, we need to mention that the Pistons are on the second leg of a back-to-back. They just played a game in New York last night, so they'll fly all the way to Chicago. On the season, though, Pistons on 0 days rest, 5-5 against the number, though. So the Pistons haven't been terrible. The Pistons haven't been a terrible team to bet on these back-to-backs. Betting trends for Detroit. Pistons are 2-3 against the spread in the last 5, 1-3 against the spread in their last 4 on the road. On the Bulls side, Bulls are 10-5 against the spread in their last 15 overall, but they've been much better on the road. I've cast several bets on the Bulls on the road recently. They're just 2-4 against the number in their last 6 at home, 1-3 against the number in their last 4 as home favorites. In this particular head-to-head matchup, the Bulls have owned the Pistons. Detroit is 3-13-1 against the spread in their last 17 matchups against the Bulls, 2-11-1 against the spread in their last 14 trips to Chicago. Wow. So this has been a very one-sided division rivalry here. As far as betting this game, honestly, I'm not even going to, I don't know. I'm not laying 11.5, 12 points with the Bulls. I'll tell you that. Certainly don't like betting the Bulls at home, but I'm also not dying to bet the Pistons that just flew all the way from New York to Chicago, to a city where they always lose and they never cover. They never cover here in Chicago. So I don't know. This is almost definitely going to be a pass for me. I'll let you know if I come up with something for the live show at 4 p.m., but as of right now, straight pass. Hornets on the road at Milwaukee to play the Bucks. Bucks laying 15 points at home, total sitting at 224.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet, and according to the model, we should see a 5-point Milwaukee win. Final score 112-107 Bucks. Injuries and inactives for the Hornets. Seth Curry listed as probable, so he might be back. Other than that, you got, almost said Lonzo. LaMelo Ball listed as out, and Mark Williams still out as well. On the Milwaukee side, Giannis is on the report, but he's listed as probable. Other than that, just Chris Middleton is still out. That's it for the Bucks. Betting trends on the Charlotte side, 5-1 in their last 6, man. Straight up and against the spread. Charlotte's hot right now. Just 3-8 against the spread in their last 11 on the road, though. 10-18 against the spread as road dogs this year. On the Bucks side, 12-16-1 against the spread at home this year. Just a 24th most profitable road team in the NBA. 8-18 against the spread in their last 26 at home. This has not been a good home team recently. They do seem to be turning it around a little bit as of late, though. 4-2 against the spread in their last 6. If we pull up the overall net efficiency numbers from the last 10 games, 13th to 18th in favor of the Bucks. Both these teams have been powered by their defense recently. Charlotte's playing great defense, 3rd in defensive efficiency. Bucks are back at 8th. So the gap between these two teams is not that big. That being said, it's important to take note, strength of schedule for the Bucks is at 5th in the last 10 games, Charlotte 22nd. So the gap looks like it's not that big, but actually Milwaukee's played a much stronger schedule than the Hornets have. We'll start with the matchup for Charlotte offensively. Edge goes to the Bucks defense in a major way here. Milwaukee has the edge in every single category as far as the main 4 factors go. Hornets don't have an offensive angle anywhere. Not going to be anything at the rim here for the Hornets. Between Brook Lopez, Giannis, Bobby Portis, Milwaukee's done a great job protecting the basket recently. They've been consistently a top 10 rim defense for over a month now. Also, not going to be much for the Hornets as far as the mid-range shot goes either. But if we take a look back at the above the break 3, maybe you could find something here. If you're looking to bet the Hornets, this might be something. Charlotte's 4th in frequency from the above the break 3, so they're shooting a ton of them. Bucks just 22nd in efficiency against that zone in the last 10. So overall, on this side of the court, the matchup goes to the Bucks defense, and it's not close. But if you're looking for something for the Hornets, you can point to the 3-point shot. Now, when we flip it over to the other side of the court, this is where we really can start to find some value for Charlotte. The weakness of this Hornets defense has been on the interior, 19th at the rim, 19th in the paint. Here's the thing, Milwaukee doesn't attack the interior. In the last 10 games, they're 30th and 21st in frequency at the rim and in the paint. Milwaukee's offense has been settling for jump shots recently, and they've been pretty good about making them. They've been efficient shooting the ball, but look at the Charlotte defensive numbers against jump shooters. 8th, 3rd, and 1st against the mid-range, above the break, and corner threes in the last 10 games. Charlotte's played great defense. And look at the main 4 factors on this side of the court. Charlotte's defense has the edge in all 4. Now, keep in mind, these are numbers from the last 10 games, and we just pointed out the Bucks have played a much stronger schedule than the Hornets in the last 10, but still, Hornets defense is a tough matchup for the Bucks offense, which is why I gotta take the Hornets here. I mean, I don't like this number. Feels like the odds makers are really seeing a strong angle for Milwaukee that I'm not seeing, but I gotta play the numbers here. I'm taking Charlotte plus 15 next game. Houston Rockets on the road in Oklahoma City. Thunder laying 9.5 points at home, total sitting at 233.5. Let's take a quick look at the spreadsheet, and according to the model, we should see a 5-point Thunder win. Final score 118-113 OKC. Injuries and inactives, Houston Rockets, just Tari Eason, who's still out. Who knows when this dude's coming back? Other than that, Houston should be good to go. On the Oklahoma City side, nobody. Looks like the Oklahoma City Thunder will be at full strength for this game. Betting trends on the Houston side, brace yourself for this. Rockets 9-17-1 against the spread on the road this year, the 29th most profitable road team. Just 2-5 against the spread in their last 7 overall. 7-15-1 against the spread as road dogs this year. That's the least profitable team in the NBA as road dogs. And on the Thunder side, the trends look excellent. They're 20-9 against the spread at home this year. That's first most profitable home team in the NBA right now. 5-0 against the spread in the last 5. They covered 5 in a row. 17-7 against the spread as home favorites this year. If we pull up overall efficiency numbers from the last 10 games, huge edge Oklahoma City here, 22nd to 4th. Rockets defense has seriously regressed. This is a top 10 and even a top 5 defense for a lot of the first half of the season. They're back to 14th in the last 10 games. And we got to take note that this game is on the road. Houston, as we know, just has not produced on the road this year. Offensively, they're terrible in Houston, out of Houston, anywhere. That offense sucks. But defensively, 3rd in efficient field goal percentage at home, back to 14th on the road this year. I do have a positive angle for the Rockets offense, though. They should definitely get second chance opportunities here. In the last 10 games, they're 3rd in offensive rebounding rate, so they've been active on the offensive glass, 24th for Oklahoma City on the defensive glass. But the thing is, all those extra possessions that the Rockets gain from offensive rebounds, they're going to give them right back in the form of turnovers. Rockets really struggling to protect the basketball. Oklahoma City's defense, elite at forcing turnovers. And the matchup gets even worse for Houston's offense. On the last 10 games, 36% of their shot attempts have come at the basket, second most in the NBA in that time span. Oklahoma City's defense has been playing elite down there. Third in efficiency at the basket in the last 10. Also, above the break 3-point shots, another shot that Houston takes a lot of. OKC 12th in defensive efficiency there as well. In fact, those are the two strengths. Those are the two strongest shot zones for the Thunder defense. So this is a really tough matchup for Houston offense. But when we flip it over to the other side of the court, we can find some value on the Rockets. Again, they do have the huge edge in the rebounding department. Rockets should control the glass on both sides of the court. And if we pull up shot zones in the last 10 games, you can see Oklahoma City's been settling for jump shots recently. In the last 10, OKC's been primarily a jump shooting offense. Rockets have good defensive numbers against jump shooters. And we know this is an Oklahoma City offense that loves to push the pace and run the fast break. That's the strongest part of the Rockets defense and has been all year. They play elite defense against the fast break. So as much of a nightmare matchup as this is for the Rockets offense, it's actually a tough matchup for OKC's offense as well, which is why I really want to bet the under at 234. I really want to hit that under, but both these teams tend to run a pretty fast pace, so I really don't know what to do with that one. I mean, I guess I'd lean Oklahoma City minus 9.5, but unfortunately, I think I'm just going to have to pass on this one for now. I'll let you know if I bet anything on the live show at 4 p.m., but as of right now, this is OKC or pass for me. Last game up is Miami at Portland, and to be honest, I completely forgot about this game, and now it's 1:30 a.m., so I completely forgot about it. Miami was still playing when I was doing my notes, so I'll see if I like anything for the live show at 4 p.m., but as of right now, we don't even know the Heat injury report, so I haven't looked at anything, so my bad about that. I forgot. Like I said earlier, live shows at 4 p.m. Eastern time. I'll bring on some guests. We'll go through all 11 games, make our final decisions. If you're able to make it, we'll love to see you in the comments. Actually, the college basketball show, it's a good college basketball day too. That one's at 3 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're able to make it to both, that'd be cool. If you want my top bets for all sports parlays of the day, or you want to join our Discord, head over to KyleKirms.com. The information's right there on the homepage. Tuesday night, a lot of basketball on, a lot of good college basketball, a lot of NBA games on, not a ton of really good NBA games, but there's definitely some spots out there. Remember to bet responsibly, and I'll talk to you in the Discord.